But that doesn't mean you don't fall. I mean, at that time, I was saddled with very heavy lawyer expenses because of the divorce. You know, I had just received a restraining order from my wife telling me I couldn't go within, I forget, but it was something like 100 yards or 500 yards of her, of my children, of my house, and so on and so forth. And this all because, you know, and all just for a no contest divorce. She had just gone in and said she wanted a divorce. And they said, what for? Is he beating you? Is he mistreating you? And they said, no. Oh, or she said, no. She said, no, I just want out. And they said, well, what's he doing? And she said, nothing. Nothing. I just want a divorce. That's all. So it wasn't like I had any history of being a violent person or doing anything bad. She just went to the court and got a restraining order on me. I had to see my children. The court made me hire a security officer to protect my children from me, for me to see my children. When the court started to allow me to see my children, even though by my wife's own admission, I was a peaceful person. I never did anything to warrant a divorce. Just she wanted out. She was Catholic. I had become Muslim. She wanted out. That was enough.
You weren't the cool guy anymore to take around to the social wine tasting parties.
What could I say? I was no longer the fun guy. I used to brew my own beer before I became Muslim. Okay, look, I'm sorry to say, but yeah, I used to brew my own beer. One of the things after I became Muslim that my father complained about was that he missed my beer. Not me, my beer. Didn't say he missed me, said he missed my beer. Now, you know, it was a hard time. It was a bit of a crazy time, and you know, I wasn't the best example of a Muslim at that time. I don't blame my parents for their reaction, because they saw me go from the person they knew to a person they really did not know or understand. And at the same time, with the media representation of Islam in the West, it creates a lot of fear and uncertainty in people's hearts. And when you see this happen to a loved one, whether it's your son, as was the case with my parents, or your husband, as was the case with my wife, it bends people's minds, and it takes time for them to come to realize that you may have changed your religion, but you yourself may not have changed that much.
Now, did you grow your hair in a funky way, start listening to rap music, get tattoos? Would you dress different? I mean, what made you such an outcast to them?
No, I didn't really dress differently, but it was just a series of things. You know, when you become Muslim, you clean up your act. You stop going to you stop going to dances, parties. You stop associating with with alcohol. I'm not saying you stop drinking. I'm saying you avoid places even where alcohol is drunk.
Okay, but fruit juice, apple juice, pineapple, non-spiked is okay, huh?
Well, of course. I mean, you know, so many other things that are good for you, but alcohol is out. So you stop going to social circles where alcohol is served. You're no longer that hug your neighbor kind of a guy, because you don't even shake hands with women anymore.
You don't shake hands with your neighbor's wife. How about a kiss on the cheek, baby?
Look, I know this is a shock to a predominantly Christian West, where you go to a wedding ceremony and you dance with the bride and you kiss the bride and all other things. I mean, the garter belt scene and all this stuff. But look, the bottom line is we're talking Christian West. Christian. What does Christian mean? Follow the example of Christ. Show me anywhere in the Bible where Jesus Christ touched a member of the opposite sex outside of his family. Please, show me that. It didn't happen. He was an Orthodox Jew. Orthodox Jews to this day do not touch women outside of their family. Or if you're a woman, they don't touch men outside of their family. I mean, we know this was his code of conduct because when we say Jesus, what do we sometimes say? Rabbi Jesus. He was an Orthodox Jew. This was a code of conduct that was respected throughout the Abrahamic faiths. It's only in modern times that our customs have bent it out of shape according to the desires of the people.
Just one more note on that, Dr. Brown. Isn't this a high sense of respect given to the woman? When in today's society, men are trying to do whatever they can to grope up on a woman and get a cheap feel here and there. Where in Islam, we don't have a right to touch what's not ours. Some will get offended. Some people will get offended if you touch their car. I mean, women are more precious to us than our cars or any material goods. So isn't this a respect towards the woman and her husband, actually?
Is it an article of respect not to touch a woman? Yeah, it's an article of respect to her. It's an article of respect to her husband, to respect that this woman is for this man, and you don't interject yourself into that in the least little bit. But look, don't ask me this question. Ask a woman this question. Islam is the fastest growing religion in the United States, is the fastest growing religion in the world. And most of the converts to Islam, the majority of the converts to Islam, are women, not men. So, you know, we hear these popular sayings that Islam is a man's religion. If Islam is a man's religion, why are most of the people converting women, not men? It's because they see that the rules of Islam, instead of constraining them, the rules set them free. Now that's difficult for people to understand, and it's best explained by a woman, but it is the fact.
After hearing this jihad struggle, because jihad is what it means is to struggle, after hearing about this struggle that you went through, should people be worried about, scared about, accepting this truth?
You know, what I can tell you is I don't regret anything. I wouldn't change anything. I've been Muslim now for about 15 years. I can honestly say I never gave up anything for the pleasure of Allah except that He gave me what was better. And, you know, an important point is that with all of what I described that I went through, despite going through the divorce, losing my kids and my family, losing my friends and my parents, and so on, the problems at work, the problems with the prejudice and everything else. The one thing I haven't told you is that during that period of time, when I was facing all those trials and tests, I remember that time as some of the best days in my life. All I can tell you is that Allah filled my heart with peace and satisfaction, and showed me what was really of value. Showed me that this dunya, meaning the material aspects of this life, this dunya is nothing. It's nothing compared to living upon the path of truth, living upon the path of the religion of our Creator's design. When you submit to Allah and you submit all of your actions to His pleasure, you find that He gives you a level of satisfaction that makes everything else seem insignificant. And over time, step by step, you find that things just come back to you. As I said, I don't blame my ex-wife and my parents, not completely in any case, for what happened, because they saw the change in me. They were suffering the concerns that they had from how the media portrays the Muslims, they couldn't think straight. They couldn't think straight in their circumstances. My wife was worried that, you know, I would abscond with the children. My parents were thinking the same thing, etc., etc. But, you know, with time they came to know me again. My parents and I are back on good terms. My ex-wife and I are, you know, able to communicate in a polite, respectful way. My children, as I said, they've always been, you know, we've always been together by telephone and vacations every year, and my life circumstance improved in so many different ways. One thing I can just say from this experience is anybody out there, Anybody out there who perceives the truth of Islam and wants to embrace Islam, do not be afraid for a second. Do not be afraid of what you will lose. Do not be afraid of what you will face. Do not be afraid of the trials and the hardship. Just pray to Allah to make it easy for you, to give you patience, to give you strength to bear it, not to test you beyond your ability to bear, and to bless you with abundance therein. Because I can guarantee you, from my experience, from the experience of other converts I have known, I can just guarantee you that after you become Muslim, Allah will fill you with such a sense of internal richness that you will realize that everything that you valued before Islam was for nothing.
Brother Brown, Dr. Brown, thank you very much. May Allah, the creator of the heavens and the earth, reward you for being with us.
And you. And thank you for inviting me once again to the Deen Show.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.